Farenthold, and I would ask if you would yield just for one quick moment.
I'd be happy to yield, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Dredra, is there any appreciable, I'll put it that way to make sure we don't leave a little what if, any likelihood that there's any Federal lands producing new oil or natural gas that was begun during the last 3.5 years?
I can't see how.
So with zero coming online during the Obama administration, it is reasonable to say 100% of the gain comes from the previous administration.
Or previous administrations.
Or even previous administration.
Right.
Thank you. I thank the gentleman. Yield back.
And following up on that same line of question, Ms. Sagama, my family has been in the oil and gas business since my great-grandfather was an independent producer. And even back when I was practicing law 20 or so years ago, we would give leases with 90-day primary terms. That was drill a well within 90 days or it's gone. Even today, my friend Michael Bergsma just leased some property that we owned about a year ago. We gave him a 2-year lease. And on private lands, we're able to get that done in 2 years with no significant environmental. Can you just go down a laundry list of, I mean, it's taken 7 plus 10 years on Federal land. How can we fix that?
Well, I think just having the government do its job. Right now we're seeing, you talk about we don't even get our leases issued within 90 days. Sometimes we're waiting years. In fact, Western Energy Alliance had to sue the government because it was holding leases for 2 to 5 years. We're still appealing that because we didn't get a full victory on that one. We're seeing then environmental analysis for even small projects taking 3, 4 years. You can't even go and submit your permit to drill until you've gotten through that environmental analysis. And for larger projects, that's taking 7 years, 8 years. So then once you get through that, then you have to submit for a permit to drill, and that average is 298 days, but it's not uncommon for a permit to take 2 to 3 years.
Let's talk about unemployment rates now. I mean, we were talking about North Dakota, where we're down to 1% unemployment. I know in Victoria, which is in the Eagleford, I was told by their economic development folks, though nominally in the 6%, they're at full employment. If you can pass a drug test and are willing to work, there's a job for you. We're hearing that they're having to import people into the Dakotas to work. I know in Corpus Christi, our hotels are full of workers that are working in the Eagleford Shale. In Victoria, a Best Western hotel, $230 a night, housing oil field work. I mean, this is a huge, huge economic boom. I guess, Mr. Dravana, can you talk about some of the jobs that are coming out of that? What type of jobs and what kind of salary levels we are looking at? To me, these are good, high-paying, middle to upper middle-class jobs.
Absolutely, Congressman. These are jobs that you don't really need a college education for. You need some skills, and we can train. That's what we do. You can have a great middle-class life, get paid very well, send your kids to school, take vacations. These are the kind of opportunities the U.S. oil and natural gas and refining businesses provide. And going back to my old hometown, and in all deference to the Philadelphia and Cleveland back in Pittsburgh, I mean, you go back to my old hometown, where Shell is proposing to build that ethylene cracker up the Ohio Valley there. It's unbelievable.
Do you think they're going to actually build that? I mean, I'm hearing a lot about decreased refining capacity in the United States and the inability to permit new refineries or large increases in capacity in refining. And that also, our refining capacity has a direct impact on gasoline prices, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. And not only has the refining capacity, but the regulations, including the renewable fuel standard, that year after year after year takes away more and more of the market of refiners and little or absolutely no benefit to the economy or no benefit to the environment. But you're right. I think the Secretary mentioned it briefly before. hey, we're in step one of many, many steps
All
of
right,
getting that
so
cracker.
I'm running out of time. It looks like we've got a war on additional refining capacities, or at least a very difficult there. And it looks like, and Mr. Glasser, we've got an issue with a war on coal. I know there was a county just south of Houston that was talking about building a coal plant, which escapes me with the price of gas what it is, but they believe in diversity of fuels. And the EPA basically descended on that town, threatening to put them in noncompliance in air quality, despite the fact they were basically upwind from Houston. Are we seeing that all over?
Yes. As I mentioned in my testimony, the administration has one rule in place, the MATS or UMAC rule, and another rule proposed, the Greenhouse Gas New Source Performance Standards rule, under which you can't build a coal plant. I mean, you just can't build a coal plant. That is a policy that is inconsistent with the notion of an all-of-the-above energy policy. It is reflective of what we're seeing throughout the administration's and particularly EPA's policies, and they are having an effect. Contrary to what Mr. Weiss said, that implies that coal employment is at an all-time high, I would simply suggest that looking at 2011 figures is a little disingenuous, because all of these policies are just coming into effect right now. The pollution rules that the administration has adopted have begun this year, and if you look what's going on in the marketplace right now, you would be hard-pressed to say that coal employment was up.
I thank you very much. I see my time has expired.
I thank the gentleman. I now ask unanimous consent that the committee report of May 23, 2011 be inserted at this time. Without objection, so ordered.